Hey, Super Scholars, it's Miss Fields today, coming to you with your reading lesson. Today is Tuesday, April 14th. I hope everyone had a fabulous weekend and that you all are ready to jump back into the swing of things and get so much more learning happening and going on. So, as I told you last week, and yesterday, we are going to be continuing to work some more with comparing and contrasting two versions of the same story. So, our learning target for today is I am learning how two versions of the same story can share similarities and differences. Okay? I want you to listen or take that in a minute, retrieve it, ask yourself, do I know what that means? And then we are going to read it again, and you're going to read it with me this time. I am learning how two versions of the same story can share similarities and differences. So, friends, remember similarities is how the two compare, what makes them alike, what makes them common. And then differences is the contrast part. So, what makes them different? What makes this one stand out from this one? Okay. So, those are comparing and contrasting words. Now, our success criteria is I am successful when I can explain the similarities and the differences in a text. Retrieve that, think about it, and we're going to read it again, and you're going to read it with me. I am successful when I can explain the similarities and the differences in a text. So, guys, these two, the learning target and the success criteria, go hand in hand because if you are learning how two versions of the same story can share similarities and differences, and then our success criteria says, well, you're successful when you can simply explain that, right? Which is what you all are going to do today. So if you can do that by the end of today's lesson, then you have rocked it out and you are successful. And so I know all of you will be because I've been checking on your formative and your reading quiz scores, and they are looking pretty good. And I see a lot of people really trying their best, which is awesome. So we're going to read today another model story that some of you have probably heard before. I bet. So I think you all are going to like it. So, we have two stories today. One is titled Rella, and the other story is titled Hurt, a Native American Cinderella story. Okay, so I'm going to read these two stories to you. I would like for you to follow along with me and touch the first word right here where it says once and get your finger ready to follow along. When we start reading over here on our text 2, I want you to go ahead and start listening for ways that these two stories compare and ways that they contrast. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Once there was a girl named Rella. She lived with her two stepsisters, Chloe and Bet. Rella's stepsisters were mean girls who bullied her. The three sisters lived in an old small home. Chloe and Bet treated Rella like she was their slave, and they never wanted her to have fun. Rella worked all day while Chloe and Bet played games and ate food. They were lazy, mean, and ugly. Rella was a hard worker, nice and pretty. One day, a poor woman knocked on the door and asked for food. Chloe and Bet answered the door and saw the woman. They made fun of her, then slammed the door in her face. Rella felt bad for her and offered her some food. She knew how it felt to be hurt by her sisters. The woman was thankful and wished her good luck in the future. The next day, the most popular family in town invited them to a party. It was for their son. Chloe and Bet told Rella she was not cool enough to go. Chloe and Bet washed up and put on their best clothes. Rella believes what they said, and so she felt like she should just stay home. Chloe and Bet left, and Rella went to bed feeling lonely and hurt. Just then, the old woman magically appeared out of the dark and woke her with surprise. She told Rella she should go to the party because her kindness and generosity makes her special. Using her magic, the woman gave her the confidence to go to the party. The boy who hosted the party felt like people only liked him because he was rich. But he was not like that. He did not want to be at his own party or be with people who were selfish or mean. He wanted to meet kind and generous people. but he was surrounded by mean girls like Chloe and Bet. In the corner of his eye, he saw a new girl arrive. After talking, he could instantly tell she was nice and honest. They talked and became quick friends. Rella felt her confidence rise as she found a new friend that shared her love of kindness and generosity. So I don't know about you all, but this story right here sounds very familiar to the Cinderella story that I know a lot of us have read. So now we're going to read over here. It's called Hurt, a Native American Cinderella story. Remember, be listening for those ways that make them the same and what ways make them different. Get your finger ready and touch the first word, and you're going to follow along with me. Once upon a time, a chief lived in a village near the sea. His wife had died many years before, and he was very ill. He had 3 daughters that cared for him. They were named Awana, Chapa, and Hurt. 2 daughters, Awana and Chapa, were angry with their father because the other girls in the village were able to sing and dance all night, but they needed to sit and care for their father. The youngest daughter, Hurt, was not like her sisters. She was gentle and kind and beautiful. Hurt was still always kind and gentle and took care of her father. Her older sisters were jealous of her and cut off her hair and made her wear rags. They also took hot coals from the fire and burned her face to make her look ugly. A great warrior named Strong Wind lived near the sea with his sister. Strong Wind had an amazing power. He was able to make himself invisible. His sister could see him, but no one else could unless he wanted. Strong Wind soon wanted a wife and said that he would marry the first woman who could see him. Many women came to the sea to watch for him. When Strong Wind's sister saw him returning home, she asked the women, "Do you see him?" Each girl would say, "Yes, I can see him." Strong Wind's sister would ask, "What is his bow and arrow made with?" And each girl would answer wrong and be sent away because they had lied. Soon, Awana and Chapa went to see Strong Wind so they could marry him. When asked if they could see Strong Wind, they lied and said yes. When asked, "What is his bow made out of?" Awana answered, "It's made out of iron." His sister Chapa answered, "It is made out of strong wood." Strong Wind's sister sent them away because they had lied. Next, Hurt went to see Strong Wind. As she walked, her sisters called her names and pulled at her hair, but Hurt continued to walk. When she arrived, Strong Wind's sister welcomed Hurt and asked her, "Can you see my brother?" Hurt answered, "No, I don't see him." Strong Wind's sister was surprised because Hurt had told the truth. She asked, "Do you see him now?" Hurt answered, "Yes, I see him. He is wonderful. His bow is the rainbow and the bowstring the stars." Strong One's sister welcomed Hurt into the tent and washed away the scars on her face. Hurt's hair grew long and beautiful as she was dressed in fine clothes. The next morning, Strong Wind married Hurt. She felt so joyous every moment she was with Strong Wind. For the rest of their days, they were very happy. So, I hope you were listening for some ways that they are similar and some ways that they are different. I sure was. So I would say that the characters in the story are very similar, okay? They have different names, but they are very, very similar, okay, in how they act, right? So in Rella, we have Rella, and then over here we have Hurt, right? Which are both the sisters that don't get treated so nicely, right? And then over here we have Chloe and Bet, and then here we have Awana and Chapa, who are the mean sisters, right? So they're the ones that are mean to their sister and don't treat them fairly and don't treat them kind. And I would also say another similarity is, well, at the end of the story, okay, Rella's the one who gets the guy that her sisters wanted, right? She's the one that he wants to be with at the end because he wanted someone that was nice, right? And someone who was generous and honest. And her sisters weren't. They weren't very nice people. And the same thing over here, Strong Wind. He wanted someone who was nice and honest and generous. And Awana and Chapa were not those things. And so in the end, in both stories, the sister who got treated poorly was the one who came out on top, right? Because of how kind they were. Now, I would say those stories are different because this one looks like it takes place kind of, maybe in like a normal setting or a normal house, kind of in a town, whereas this one takes place in a village near the sea. Okay, so that's how the settings can be different. I want to see if you all can come up with any more ways that they are similar and different and think about that. You can go ahead. If I were you, I would pause this video and just ask yourself and maybe reread through some parts and say, is there any way else that these stories can compare or contrast, just to test yourself and see if you've got it. Okay, moving on. So, this is your story for today, friends. You are going to be reading The Boy Who Cried Ow and The Cat Who Cried Mouse. Okay, so this is text 1 and this is text 2. So, I am going to read this story with you, and then you are going to get the chance to read it again on your own, okay? So we are going to get to read this text twice. So the same thing as the last story. I just want you all to follow along with me. You should have this paper copy of this text in front of you, and if you don't have it in front of you yet, then just follow along with me as I read. A little boy named Sean thought it was very funny to play tricks. He would always try to tell his mom and dad he got hurt on his bike. He would come running in, shouting that he hurt his knee. His parents would run to help him, but they would always get mad when he would say, "Just joking." One day, Sean was riding his bike to his friend's house. He hit a hole in the street and went flying off his bike. He hurt both of his knees and both of his hands. He limped home crying. When he went inside and called for his parents, neither of them came to help him. He called again. No answer. When his mom finally saw him, she jumped up to help him. "Sean, this is why you can't joke about being hurt. Dad and I thought you were just joking again, but you were really hurt this time." So we've got a friend here, Sean. He's playing tricks on his parents, saying that he's hurt. Now we're going to come down here and read about the cat who cried mouse. Tabby was a playful cat. He would play tricks on his brothers and sisters. His favorite trick was to tell them there was a mouse in the kitchen. Tabby loved to see his brothers and sisters run as fast as they could to look around for 10 minutes. They would get mad when they didn't find it. One day, his brothers and sisters told him that they did not like his tricks anymore. These tricks upset them. Tabby was sad that he could not play any more jokes, but he understood. The next week, Tabby saw 2 mice run through the basement. Tabby yelled, "Mice!" and ran after them. None of his brothers and sisters came to help him. The mice got away. When he told his brothers and sisters, they told him they thought he was just telling another joke. Okay. So, this is your task for today. Okay, you should have this in your baggie. So it looks like it wants you to compare, so how they are the same, and contrast how they are different, the characters in the story, the setting of the stories, and the events in the story. And guys, remember, the events are just the big picture of what happened in the story, okay? So I know there can be a lot of little things, but think of it as like the main idea. What's the big thing that happened in this story? And so over here, I have my Venn diagram, which, I wonder if somebody can tell me what I'm missing up here, because I don't know what story either of these things go with. Miss Fields did this to trick you, but if you said Miss Fields was missing her titles, you are so correct. Because on this side, I should have The Boy Who Cried Ow. And then on this side, the orange circle, I should have The Cat Who Cried Mouse, okay? So remember, when you're doing your Venn diagram, make sure that you have your titles so that your readers know what side each goes with each story. So on this side, The Boy Who Cried Owl, I decided to go ahead and do some comparing and contrasting of the characters for you all to kind of give you a head start. So over here, I said that there is a boy named Sean. Okay. So over here, there's a boy named Sean. He's the main character. And then over here, in The Cat Who Cried Mouse, there is a cat named Tabby. Okay, so here we've got and that's another one that I didn't even add, but you could even add this, right? Over here, this story deals with animals. Okay, over here, this story deals with actual people. Okay, humans. Now, if I come over here in the center, remember the center is how they are alike. What makes them similar? I said both characters played tricks on other people. Wow. So that is how the characters are similar, right? Because both of the main characters, both Sean and Tabby, they play tricks on other people, okay? Which was not the right thing to do. So that is a little introduction to some things that you can write over here for how the characters are the same and how they are different. I encourage you to see if there's anything else you can add. Then you are going to do the same thing with the setting, and then you're going to do the same thing with the big picture or the event that happened in each story. Okay, guys? So I am going to leave you all to go ahead to jump right into your assignment for today. If you have any questions, I encourage you to, since we've been doing this for a few days, I encourage you to watch some of the other videos that we've done based around comparing and contrasting two versions of the same story. Okay, or reach out to your teachers and let us know so that we can help you. All right, Super Scholars, have a great Tuesday, and don't forget to do your formative quiz at the end of your assignment. Have a good day. Bye.